At the beginning of the movie, a man named Random Shukla explains that over thousands of years, humanity got used to green grass, endless oceans, and clean air. However, by 2017, Earth's pollution had become irreversible. Random never experienced that amazing nature, only hearing about those happy times from his mother, who likely heard similar stories from her mother. He also mentions that his heart stopped beating when he was 7 days old. Fortunately for him, 43% of children born that year didn't survive due to heart problems. For nearly 30 years now, Random has been living with an artificial heart. Due to environmental pollution, massive amounts of carbon entered the atmosphere, making it impossible to breathe in the open air. People are forced to wear special masks everywhere, and oxygen, like electricity, is supplied to homes and offices. Many major companies started producing oxygen in their factories, and now people have to pay for the privilege of breathing. Those who can't afford to buy oxygen receive it from the government, but its quality leaves much to be desired. The most profitable oxygen for producers is natural oxygen, which is so rare that the government has banned people from extracting it themselves. People are willing to sacrifice a lot to get it, leading to a curfew with orders for law enforcement to shoot to injure. The main action of the movie takes place in New Delhi in 2067. Random wakes up in an uncomfortable room, and a voice from a loudspeaker announces that oxygen supply will be cut off at 7 a.m. and asks everyone to put on their masks until the supply resumes.
Inconvenience is deeply regretted.
Random's friend, wearing a mask, enters and tells Random that they are summoned by someone named Yagub, who has an important client interested. Due to a strict guard outside, he can't send one of his own people. The man throws a mask to Random, who isn't too thrilled about meeting Yagub. The man asks Random what he's thinking and reminds him that Yagub is the king of the oxygen business, paying them well for illegal oxygen sales. While Random prepares to meet Yagub, we hear Yagub's voice off screen. Random explains that oxygen has become the new forbidden substance for the upper class, and he's there to help them. He's involved in smuggling natural oxygen in small quantities, which he's allowed to carry due to his artificial heart. Random admits this is his personal revenge, using the oxygen that caused his heart to stop to earn money for a new heart. Like all the wealthy, he wants to leave Earth and go to Mars. Random and his friend leave their hideout in the ruined city and head to Yagub. When they reach an abandoned factory, the man introduces Random to Yagub, the boss, and his assistants. Seeing Random's masked face, Yagub asks how he plans to deliver the goods with the increased street patrols. Random claims that, thanks to his artificial heart, he has a license to carry natural oxygen for survival. Yagub demands proof. Random undresses to reveal a sensor in the heart area with wires extending from it. Yagub then queries how many tanks Random can carry. Random replies that he can smuggle 3 to 4 tanks through the checkpoints. Yagub briefs Random, informing him that he needs to deliver 100% natural oxygen to a Mars buyer named Shah, with the batch costing 400 million. He also states that the goods need to be delivered before the curfew and promises Random and his friend 10 million each. However, Random insists they won't settle for less than 40 million. Yagub is surprised and asks if he's really worth that much, then suggests settling it with an arm wrestling match. Random starts to win, but then Yagub decides to fight without masks. Due to the lack of oxygen, Random weakens, and Yagub manages to defeat him. Random quickly puts his mask back on, and surprisingly, Yagub agrees to his terms, saying he will pay the first 20 million as an advance and the remaining 20 million after the job is done. He then hands Random a revolver and reminds him to make sure he returns before the curfew, otherwise neither Random nor Yagub will be spared by the police. After a while, Random heads to a checkpoint for a thorough check to get permission to leave his district. While waiting for his turn, a voice from the loudspeaker reminds everyone that illegal oxygen sales are a punishable crime. Random takes out an electronic device resembling a pocket watch, and a projection appears with important information for him. It also reminds him that there are 6 hours left until the curfew. Random realizes that the deal he agreed to is extremely dangerous, but he's made up his mind. It's either 20 years behind bars or a new life. As Random contemplates his decision, it's his turn. The control system immediately identifies that he has oxygen tanks with him, and Random hands his license to the military personnel. They check Random's information and confirm that he indeed has the right to carry oxygen. The military returns Random's license and warns him that if he loses it, he will be detained for breaking the law, then grants him permission to leave to another district, which is radically different from the ruins where Random lives. Meanwhile, we meet Mr. Shah, waiting for Random's arrival in a futuristic office. A voice off-screen announces that the Martian stock market has skyrocketed after the Giantsis Group announced their plans to invest in another project allowing oxygen extraction on Mars. Finally, Random arrives in Shah's office and informs that he is coming from Yagub.
Good. I was waiting for you.
Sitting at a table that resembled a large antique chest, Random notices a glass of water and can't take his eyes off it. Shah offers him a drink, which surprises Random. He realizes that since Shah offered him water at their first meeting, He must be from Mars. Shah explains that he went to Mars when he was only 5 years old and returned to Earth just 3 days ago. Random asks if he had any special reasons for coming back. Shah replies that nowadays people only have 2 reasons to return to Earth: business and pleasure. He also claims that he has finished all his business and returned solely for pleasure. Then Random shows him bottles of Himalayan oxygen, collected and packaged at an altitude of 800 meters above sea level. Shah examines the bottles with interest and asks if there is any moisture in them. Shah then declares that he cannot verify if what Random claims is really in the bottles. But Random insists that Shah is lucky to get a product of such quality, and it will soon run out. Shah cryptically states that everything comes to an end sooner or later. He speculates that when a person descends in a shuttle, all he sees is carbon, and that's the end. Random retorts that people like Shah are just on the edge, while people like him stand before the storm and know how to survive in it, so it's not the end yet. Shah states that that's exactly why he loves people, because they never give up no matter the circumstances. However, the atmosphere began to deteriorate from the moment the first factory was built, but no one paid attention to it. Rivers in Delhi were overflowing with toxic waste, and that was the last straw. People failed to learn from their mistakes, and now there's no way back. Random responds that the end of the world is already predetermined. Moreover, it's already here. Now you either survive or you don't. But Shah believes the end has not yet come. It's only approaching, and that the earth will tremble in agony before silence falls. Suddenly, the chest serving as a table begins to shake. Random realizes it's pointless to talk to Shah and declares that it's time to leave. Shah stops him, saying that those who rushed are already dead. Random notices that everyone either comes or goes, but no one gets anything done. Shah says that because of such statements, he doesn't trust him, and the chest shakes even more violently. Random claims that Shah invited him just to buy oxygen, and there's no need to trust him. He himself can't trust Shah, as he clearly has someone hidden in the chest. Suddenly, Random pulls out a revolver and points it at Shah, urging him not to dramatize the situation. However, Shah declares that he loves drama too, and also points his weapon at him, noting that life on Mars is very dull. For a couple of seconds, they stare intently at each other, and as Shah tries to move, Random shoots him. Random hastily packs the oxygen bottles into his backpack and then opens the mysterious chest, where he finds a tied-up girl named Parai. He points the revolver at her and warns her that he has already shot a person, so she shouldn't make any sudden moves. Freed, Parai mentions she has many questions for Random, just as he likely has for her. Random asks if Shah was the one who locked her in the chest, but Parai responds in surprise, revealing that the man he shot wasn't Shah at all. Parai points to another lifeless body and identifies him as Shah, the oxygen dealer from Mars who had ordered the goods. The man Random was talking to was probably a mercenary who, among other things, planned to kidnap her and send her to Mars. Then Random notices the surveillance cameras and asks Parai how the communication channel with the security system was disabled. She explains that the stranger turned off the main computer controlling the entire house. They then exit into the hallway, and Random asks if there is anyone else in the building. However, first, Parai wants to know who Random is. He once again points the revolver at her, but Parai insists that he won't gain anything by taking her life. Random retorts, saying he just wants to get paid for his goods. Parai assures him that she will pay him, but only if he releases her. Then Parai shows Random numerous bottles of water, the value of which exceeds Random's goods. However, each bottle has a built-in alarm system, and if the water is taken outside the building without entering a password, the authorities will be notified. Random confirms his suspicion that people here have water and also mentions that in the area where he lives, people are willing to kill each other for a glass of water, which could lead to war. Suddenly, a loudspeaker turns on, announcing that the curfew has begun and that all residents must stay in their homes. Meanwhile, Yagub realizes that Random is late, and in retaliation, he removes the mask from his friend, causing him to quickly suffocate. Random and Parai continue their conversation. Assuming that Shah was her husband, Random asks why she doesn't seem saddened by his death. However, Parai clarifies that Shah was not her husband. She reveals that he bought her online, highlighting that this is the grim reality for refugees nowadays. Random then asks what Parai plans to do next, and she replies that she wants to travel the world, but suddenly,
I want to travel the world. I want to travel the world.
Parai is revealed to be a robot when her system unexpectedly begins to reboot. Random attempts to halt the reboot, but access to Parai's system is denied. Suddenly, the room plunges into darkness, only for the lights to flicker back on moments later. Confused, Random leaves the room, pondering his strange fate. He inhales oxygen from one of the bottles and then loses consciousness. After a while, he wakes up to find someone dragging him by his feet. Soon he finds himself in front of Yagub in the same room where Parai was left. Yagub claims that Random's intentions likely changed due to the large volumes of water he saw. Random objects, saying that Yagub misunderstood him. One of Yagub's henchmen informs him that the water is loaded and proposes taking Parai along. However, Yagub dismisses the idea, doubting her usefulness. Random pleads with Yagub to trust him, but Yagub counters, stating that the police will soon arrive and they'll need a scapegoat. Yagub, with his henchmen and water supplies, leaves the building, leaving Random tied up in the room with Perai. Meanwhile, the system reboot finishes, and Perai wakes up. Random requests to be freed, and at the same time, due to the removal of the bottles, the alarm system activates. They realize they need to escape before the police arrive. However, at the building's exit, Yagub and his men are already surrounded by the police. Random and Perai, both masked, successfully make their escape from the building. Luckily, the police have already apprehended Yagub and his henchmen for water theft, giving them no reason to pursue Random and Perai. Surveying the desolate cityscape, they're uncertain of their next move. However, Perai assures Random that together they'll find a way forward. In the film's closing moments, we hear Random reflect on the unexpected humanity he found in Perai, who remains unaware of her robotic nature. He expresses horror at the realization that humanity has brought about its own downfall, leaving a bleak future dominated by carbon. What do you think? Does the world still have a chance to avoid such a future, or is the environment irreversibly polluted? Share your thoughts in the comments below, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next videos.